We will be sharing this recording with other friends of GRID who are not able to join us today for this meeting. So unfortunately, we had to amend our agenda for today. I believe that you've all heard of the dreadful news that has come from Ethiopia. JDC is closely monitoring the situation. We are in close contact with our staff and partners, of course, first to assess their safety and how the situation is impacting our programming. Currently, JDC programs in the country, which are mostly south of Addis, remain unaffected by the conflict, and all of our staff are safe, but let us all pray for a peaceful resolution. Today, we'll be taking you on a journey to hear from our partners around the world about our life-changing opportunities, including urban farming, harvesting locusts for compost, using biogas for cooking, and beekeeping to produce kosher organic honey as a source of income. The COVID pandemic has widened the already significant gender poverty gap, meaning that more women are being pushed into extreme poverty than men. Today, we're going to be meeting with some of these women. Our journey will first take us to Ethiopia, then to South Africa, and we'll broaden the lens to take a look at a unique global project, turning the locust disaster into a financial opportunity, which is something I've been personally fortunate to be a part of. So first off, okay, I would tell you, gave me talking points and I don't know how to pronounce the name of the person I'm introducing, and I don't want to say it wrong, but I'm introducing, can you please help me?
Fegegta, do you want to introduce the women in the
Please.
Okay, her name is Tigist.
All right. Tigist, please go over and share some insights about life as a woman in Ethiopia. Thank you.
Matt, please share the video.
የተወለድኩት ጎንደር ነው። ጎንደር ክፍለ ሀገር ነው የተወለድኩት። ያው ቤተሰቦችም ያው እንደነገርኩሽ ቤተሰብ ያው እኔ አሉ ልጆች ያሳደኳቸው። እኔ እንኳን መሀል ነኝ አልወለድኩም፣ ግን ያሳደኳት ልጅ አለችኝ። ሬስቶራንት የመክፈት እንትኑ አለኝ አሁን። እንደው አሁን ከዚች ከ100 ብር ከ50 ብር ተነስቼ አስባለሁ በቃ እንደምከፍት ብዬ ነው የማስበው። በቃ ዝም ብዬ ማለት ነው። እና ይሄንን ነው የማስበው። ለምሳሌ እንዳየሽው አሁን ፍርፍር ሰራለሁ፣ እንቁላል ሳንዱች ሰራለሁ። እንቁላልና ድንች ደግሞ ስፔሻል የሚባል አለ፣ እሱም ሰራለሁ። እሱ ከመጣሌ ደግሞ ፉልም መስራት እችላለሁ። አሁን እዚህ ላይ አሁን ፉል ብሰራ አይመቸኝም። ያው ከሰራሽ ቆመሽ ከሄድሽ ያው ነገ ሌላ ቀን ነው። ምክንያቱም ነገን ይቀየራለሁ ብለሽ ነው የምትሰሪው። እኔ አሁን ምንሽ እንደነገርኩሽ ያው ከቫይረሱ ጋር ነው የምኖረው፣ ግን አላስብም። በቃ ነገ ቀየራለሁ ነው እንጂ ያው ምንሽ አንዳንዴ ይሰማሻል የሆነ ነገር ያው ተመስገን። ግን እኔ እንደዚህም ሆኖ ሰው አሁን ሞታለሁ ነው የሚያስበው። እኔ ግን ሞታለሁ አላስብም። በቃ ቀየራለሁ። አንድ ደግሞ ያው ልጄ ትንሽ ያው ባልወልዳትም ልጄ ናት፣ ግን ከፍ ብላ እሷን ቁም ነገር አድርሽ ቢያንስ እኔን ተረድታኝ ውስጤን ተረድታ እንኳን ያው ትላለህ። በቃ ምንም አሁን እንደዚህ በቃ እንደዚህ በርቀት አያለሁ፣ ግን የሆነ ነገር እንዲያውን ቀረብ አድርጌ በደንብ አያይልኝ። ይሄ ምንድነው ጭሱ? በዛን ጊዜ ደግሞ ጠላ ሲሸጥም በዛን ሰዓት ያሻረው ጭስ እንዳለ አይኔን ጎድቶታል። እንዳልሽው እናንተኛን ከረዳችሁንና እኔ ይሄን መሳሪያ ቢመጣ እርግጠኛ ነኝ እዚህ ጋር በጣም ብዙ ሴት ስለሚመጣ እኔን እያየ የማይገዛ ጧት ራሱ እንደው ይሄ ከሰል እንዴት ነው ማለት ኧረ እባክሽ ዘመናዊ ምድጃ የሚሰጡ መጥተዋል አሉ። ጫፍ ሰምቼ ነው ፎርሜሽን ስለ ኧረ እባክሽ እንደው አስመዝግቢን ኧረ
My name is Fagakta Lemma, and I am the country director of JDC Ethiopia office. I oversee all the different programs and operation of JDC within Ethiopia. And I also participated in the design of the Imagine More program from the beginning and as well as solve. So just to give you a bit of a background about the program and the design of the program, this Imagine More project that we are implementing in Ethiopia is designed to bring access to clean cooking stoves to women who are engaged in small businesses like coffee stove. JDC has designed a program where we are planning to give 250 stoves as donation to 5 women cooperatives, which are under one big union. And this union will take the stoves and sell it to women that are running small businesses like Tigist that you saw in the video. And she will get the stove on a loan basis, or there might be some women that can pay upfront amount and purchase directly. But we are giving the option of accessing these stoves on a loan basis initially as a pilot for about a year to 250 women. The money that the union will collect from repayment of these loans will be used as a revolving fund, and so that more women will continue to get access to this energy saving stove. Each stove costs around $100. The union will add their own administrative costs, and the total cost of the stoves will now be around $118. We know that's a significant amount for women, especially engaged in very small businesses, as Tigist, the one you saw in the video. So what we plan is that this amount of money have to be repaid in a period of 1 year, which means every month, Tigist, for instance, has to repay around $9.8, close to roughly around $10 per month as repayment back to the union. This is not really a significant amount. When we spoke to her, we learned that she spends around $8 per week to purchase charcoal. But for her to be able to run this energy saving stoves, she'll be using pellets, which are made up of coffee husks. And they are very reasonably cheaper than the charcoal. Instead of paying $8 per week, now she'll only have to pay $4 per week for the pellets, which gives her an additional saving of $4 per week, which is quite significant for women like Tigist. And as she spoke to us in our conversation with her, she mentioned that she has trachoma, which is really exacerbating her health, and the smoke from the charcoal is really affecting her eye. She does not have 7,000 birr that is required for the simple operation. It's treatable, but because she doesn't have the money, she's just left it, and day by day she's getting blind because of the smoke from the charcoal. And the stoves we are introducing don't emit smoke, which is good and has health benefits for women like Tigist. In addition to providing this technology, we will also give Tigist with mentorship training by Yuzmot Atit, which is an Israeli NGO. They will be giving her various kinds of training, and she will be able to manage her finances properly, get additional loan by applying to a bank, and then hopefully be able to achieve her long-term plan and dream, which is to first open a small restaurant and then eventually be able to own her own hotel. And she's planning to name her hotel Tomorrow is Another Day. So that's Imagine More, that's the good story, and that's the kind of women we're going to engage with through this Imagine More project. Thank you.
Thank you, Fagagta. Lisa, Please
Okay.
take the stage, Lisa.
Thank you. Well, that was quite a presentation, and I'm sure we can all see how tough and challenging the living conditions and the desire to want to do better and do more, how strong that desire really is. So I'm going to give everybody a few minutes. If anyone came up with a question or a thought or a comment, then let me just open up here so I can see. Susie, I think you have a question. Go ahead.
Well, Fagetta, thank you so much. I have a lot of questions, but I want to know, they said that your program has not been impacted by the conflict, but I can't imagine that maybe it hasn't today, but what are the plans for the future? And then the second question, unrelated, but you're using these stoves. Are there other technologies that you're thinking about helping with these women?
Currently, we are only going to help them adopt these stoves. Hopefully in the long run, as they try to expand their businesses, we will support them in consultation with Yosmo Tabti, design various programs to help them adopt other technologies and be engaged and or expand their businesses. In terms of being affected by the conflict, that conflict is actually up in the north, in the northern part of Ethiopia. We haven't sensed any certain danger right now in Addis Ababa, the capital city of Ethiopia. And we are going to implement this Imagine More project in the capital city. We will not go out of the city. So for now, we are okay, and we will be able to implement this without any security situation.
Can I ask one other question? Is there anything we
Sure.
can do with respect to her eyesight to help with whatever procedure, or is there something that on our end we can do?
I guess there could be something we can do, but I refer to Avital and Daniela.
All right.
Comment on. Yeah.
Okay, and I got another question. We are making an investment with these women for $118. And I know part of it is that the responsibility of them paying back the loan, but it seems to me that maybe we can gift it to them. And then, if they decide they want to pay us back, we say, go buy more fuel or whatever. Because I think it's $118 per person, and that's not much, and it's a lot to them. And I don't think for us it's that much. So maybe down the road we can think maybe they don't have to pay it back. They think they have to pay it back, but maybe we don't have to make them pay it back.
I want to address that, Susie. It's a great question. I want to say that of course we can do it, especially in the beginning. It's only $118, but when we go further along the line, we want this program to sustain itself. We don't want to stay there forever. We want to use the Israeli model of DNA, develop, nurture, and accelerate. So we don't take back to JDC the money. We can give it to, the money can be given back to the union, and the union or the cooperative can engage more women in the program with the money coming back in. So that's a mechanism that the program will always continue to grow and to sustain itself without being dependent too much on philanthropic money. So at the beginning, it's a mini pilot, but in the end, this is what we envision.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. There was a question from Nancy about if the stoves contain an oven. Can anyone answer that question?
No,
Daniela?
the stove, they don't have an oven.
It's just like a plate. Okay.
Yes, and I included the link for the stove in the chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Thanks, Daniela. There's another question that says, what happens if the woman gets ill and cannot work? What happens to her business? What happens to the money?
Daniela, please.
So if she's going to report her condition, to the union, and the union will give her a loan extension period until she gets better and gets back to work. That kind of mechanism already exists. These women take loans for other businesses as well, not just for the stove. So that kind of model is already put in place.
Great. I think we have time for maybe one or two more questions. I think Terry, you have a question.
Yeah, on solar cookers that don't require anything except sunshine. Have we considered those? And secondly, I think that just in terms of human dignity, it's not always good to receive a gift. It's good for women, for all people, to feel that they have an investment in their own futures, and just being given something, I think, defeats part of that psychological growth as well. But what about solar cookers that don't require them to buy any sort of fuel?
Actually, these stoves also work with a battery, and the battery is charged using solar. They have solar panels, and they can use the solar panels to charge the battery, and it can be used for 9 hours after the battery is fully charged. So they also have that option as well on the stove.
Good, thanks.
Great, thank you so much. Lisa, you had a question. Did you want to ask your question?
Yes, thank you. No, I was wondering, how do you identify the women that you choose?
So the union will help us in identifying the women. It should be women that are already running small businesses, like the one you saw in the video, and they will help us in identifying those women and help us in really disseminating the stoves on a loan basis. So we have a partner called WISE who will assist us in this process, and the union also take a lead in this.
And what is the criteria they use to define those women?
So we're still working on the criteria for selecting the women, but one of it is definitely that they should have a business already established and running, even if it's small, and they have previously taken a loan for any other business and are repaying back and are in the system with the union, so that it won't be completely something new for them to do. They should also have monthly saving. For example, Tigist in the video, she saves 50 birr a day, which is close to $1 a day. And so they should have that culture of saving, engaging in business, actively participating within the union, and are also really in need in this of this technology. For example, Tigist, her health is being affected because of the smoke from the coal. So we will continue to develop the criteria, but these are some of the things we're looking into.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you. I point out that Daniela in the chat placed a link where you can read a little bit more about the stoves, but it is interesting that the little solar panel can also be used to charge phones, which I thought was very helpful. I think, thank you. These were all great questions. Unfortunately, I don't think we have time for any more now, but you can always email or send messages if you have further questions.
Or continue in the chat as well. We are all here. Liran, Liora, Daniela, Segekta, we all can answer through the meeting. And so, hello everyone, and shalom, and hi from South Africa. I'm so excited to say it out loud that we are here. We were really afraid because there is electricity shutdown. So our friends here from POC are hosting us. They're near the hospital, so electricity is running. And I want to share with you, one second. I want to share the presentation and start. Please let me know when you see it. Do you see it? Great. So here we are. This is a farm of Mems who you are going to meet shortly. She's working on beehives. I want to speak about the general picture of Imagine More. We want to improve the livelihood and well-being of women around the world, mainly in Africa and in India. We want to be able to establish hundreds of sustainable, innovative businesses. We want to leverage Israeli technology. We want to create global community, work as much as possible with the Jewish community, and we'll meet Wendy Kahan from the Jewish Federations of South Africa very soon. When we speak about establishing a sustainable, innovative businesses, we're talking about giving access to finance, access to technology, access to capacity building. We'll create innovation journey where we use our projects to serve as beta sites for Israeli technology to try their products and do good. And we want to attract Jewish young leaderships to our work. As always in JDC, we measure, and the lesson learned will be disseminated and marketed and can be replicated in other countries as well. You heard from Fegegta and from Tigit in Ethiopia. We'll share about our work in South Africa. You're going to be meeting Wendy. I don't want to, Wendy, the National Director of the South African Jewish Board of Deputies. And then we'll meet Rose. Rose is the national coordinator of the Federation of the Urban and Rural Poor in South Africa, and she will share her to give you some kind of understanding of how it is like to be a woman during the COVID these times. We'll hear from MEMS about beehives that we want to be engaged in. And we brought here examples. We have MEMS, but we have more beehives because we want to create a massive impact and to be able to impact the lives of many women. And here is the time to thank the Horwitz family who help us work in South Africa, and also our amazing board members, Jane Lickman and Michelle, and of course Danielle Capalino and Wendy Brenner and many others. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and Lisa, who is running our advisory council with Danielle. And then we'll speak about regional food security. You'll hear how we turn a crisis, the locust crisis, into an economic opportunity for women, and this gives us a lot of pride based on Israeli technology. So this is where we want to take you in this meeting. Here are some pictures of urban farms that we want to establish here in South Africa. On the right, those are grandmothers who are doing small gardens in very poor townships, and they do it because they need to cater for their grandchildren, for their children died from AIDS and from COVID. So those are the kinds of things we want to tap into. And and I'm finishing, this is the land of the agri-hub we're going to establish that will create the market linkages for the urban poor farmers. And I hope they'll be much less poor after this operation, and this will also serve as a vehicle to introduce technology, to introduce training, and to, as I said, create market linkages and venue for the Jewish community to volunteer and to be part of this program. So without thank you, and again, and now please, Wendy, welcome.
Hello, from Johannesburg, where we also are intermittently dealing with electricity crises at the moment. So I'm pleased I'm on for the moment. This is such an incredible privilege to be meeting with this body. We've worked with the JDC in the past, specifically around the issues of our community up in Zimbabwe. But it is just so exciting to be involved in projects like this. South Africa is a land of inequality. When we met with Avital and Daniela, we met on the top of this beautiful hotel with this lovely balcony, and we sat and had our meeting there. And if you looked over, you would see Alexandra, which is one of the most impoverished and poor areas in our region, and that is what South Africa is about, and this has had catastrophic consequences in the last couple of years, where not only have we seen the inequalities through COVID, but we had in July this year terrible unrest and looting in Johannesburg, where I live, and also in Durban and KwaZulu-Natal. The only way that we can start creating or prevent something like that happening again is if we start dealing with the poverty in this country. And not like on a haphazard level, but on a long sustainable level. And that's why we are so delighted that you have chosen our country to come into and to bring your expertise and to bring your knowledge and to bring your projects. Meeting with Avital and Daniela was like meeting with kindred spirits, because they understand how important it is not only to make a long-term contribution and to try and change some of the poverty situation that we have, but also they understand how important it is for the Jewish community to be involved in these kind of projects. And we understand that. The Jewish community in South Africa knows that for us to be relevant in this context, we need to be involved in upliftment initiatives. And that we do a lot of it. In the last 2 years, the Jewish Board of Deputies has managed a fund of over 20 million rand, where we have gone into rural, urban communities, we've gone into refugee communities, granny-headed houses, child-headed houses, hunger, starvation that the lockdowns have caused in this country. But that's not sustainable. We have to go further. We have to really uplift people and give them the skills and the ability to be able to stand up for themselves. We have discussed with Avital and with Daniela ways that we as the Jewish community would like to be involved. We would very much like to be involved in terms of publicizing the amazing projects that you want to get involved with in this country. And that is important not just for you and not just for the JDC, but it's very important that the South African Jewish community and the Jewish communities are involved in trying to improve on the situation in this country. And we share your passion, we share the energy. It's just on this call, on this Zoom tonight, I feel like I'm surrounded by friends, and I am, because some of you are my good friends. But I'm really looking forward to working with you to making this an amazing project in our country. Thank you so much for choosing us.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much. And I'm delighted to, I fell in love with Rose. I'm sure you will too. So here is Rose, and please.
So I have to get to say my story. Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this discussion today. I'm so delighted to listen to the stories from other people that they are doing good things in different countries. We are inviting you to South Africa to see more of what people are doing for themselves. As Avital have already said, my name is Rose Molokwani. I'm the coordinator of the Federation of the Urban and Rural Poor, and we call ourselves Fed Up in short, because we are really fed up of poverty. We are really fed up of being homeless. We are really fed up of people not wanting to listen to us. And as an organization, we said what we should do is to create what we call self-reliance, because we have to rely to ourselves rather than relying to people who are not interested in listening to what people are saying, like government who are doing things for the people and not with the people. Hence, we are saying nothing for us without us. But the most important thing that helped us to be strong as we are is the culture of savings. We have been saving together as women in South Africa for almost over 25 years now. And the saving that we were doing, we were trying to look at how we can change our lives, because most of the people who are part of the savings are unemployed and domestic workers and the people who are earning less than living wage. So the saving that we have done was not just a saving for putting money together, but also bringing people together so that we can share ideas on how to address our challenges that are facing us on a daily basis. So the savings that we have done was that, what is it that we should do with the money that we are saving? Because it's so little. And we say, no, the daily needs of our children who are sick to go to the doctor, who want to go to school and we can't buy uniform, to put food on the table. Then we used our saving to improve that kind of life that is affecting us as the poor in South Africa. Where we have looked at South Africa to say every day the rate of unemployment is growing. Then our savings is helping us so much that even if the rate of unemployment is growing, we are able to sustain our small businesses that we are having through the savings that we are putting together. Over and above the savings that we are putting together, we have created a fund that we call Fed Up Income Generating Program. This fund is the one where every member of the federation is contributing towards in order for us to help each other to start our own businesses at our own areas. How we run this fund, when the people want to get the loan, we are not doing individual loan system, but we are doing group loan system, so that when somebody is unable to repay for that matter, then the group can help the person to repay for that loan that they have taken. What we have agreed was that we have to start with little amount of money to support those people who have already started their businesses. And then we grow as the people are repaying. The repayment of our loans is 32% per annum, and they are paying their loans within 4 months. Then after paying 4 months, then you get another loan. As I speak now, a lot of people are already getting an amount of 10,000 rand to do it. And then different loans that we are giving, people have started sewings, restaurant, vegetable markets, clothes, confectionaries, and small shops. It has improved ourselves. The last thing that has made us to be more stronger is during the COVID-19, where people didn't know what to do. So we started the gardening program, where we are looking at food security so that we can improve our own nutrition, whereby our people can't go to the supermarkets, but they can grow their vegetables behind their houses. This is the campaign that we have come up with, and it has brought more knowledge to our members of the Federation to know that if you grow your own vegetable, you grow them in your yard, you can grow as people who are coming together. We can even start the market that can sell our vegetables to our people. This is the campaign that we have. We are happy that JDC, you came to introduce yourself to us. Let's partner together so that we can promote the culture of food security in our country so that people can get food. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rose. It's been a pleasure, and I think you see the reactions from our members. I would like to introduce you to MEMS. Mems is the head of Be African. She runs a Be African social business, and together with Sawid cooperative, we want to create an opportunity with her and other women like her to promote increasing livelihood of women. So please, Mems, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Vitali, and good evening, everyone. Rainy South Africa. Yes, indeed, I am a founder of a social enterprise named Be African. At Be African, we are about two major factors. You know, the one factor is poverty alleviation, and the second factor, of course, is environment, you know. And we run a business aggregator in terms of which one we identify. So we belong to an organization called the industry bodies called the South African Beekeeping Industry Organization. And we have a whole lot of small scale beekeepers, about 4,000 of us, you know. So I've taken the task of ensuring that all 4,000 small scale beekeepers in South Africa scale up to commercial levels. And for this reason, I work closely with the University of Johannesburg, the Center for Ecological Intelligence, wherein we are going to start offering the short learning programs on the fundamentals of beekeeping. And linked to that, of course, the whole notion of environment, as I said, because the beauty about bees is that there's a whole lot of symbiotic relationship between bees, plants, and us as humanity. I'm sure we all know that bees play a significant role in the food chain, in the sense that without bees, there's no food, given the fact that bees are pollinators. So yes, the idea behind, as I said, is to ensure that we bring in as many women as possible within the Be African initiative, so we can alleviate poverty, number one. Importantly, so that we also can become much more food and nutrition secure. So the whole point is about what is it that we are eating, what kind of nutritious elements are we ingesting in the food that we eat. And so the bees allow us to do that, in the sense that for one to keep bees, they need to have vegetation. You know, they need to have bee-friendly plants that will ensure that at the end of the 3 to 4 months honey production cycle, we've got a good yield of honey. I also need to mention that I happen to be the recipient of the Female Farmer of the Year award, you know, which award is offered by government to well-deserving farmers. And that really puts me in a better state, in a good state also in terms of communication and engagement with various stakeholders for ensuring that the issues of women are discussed at higher level as well. You know, so the issues of community engagement. So what we do is our focus is more on the bottom-up approach. I see my time is up. Before I leave the platform, I want to showcase the product. This is pure and natural honey. I must say that we are kosher certified for the product, our honey product.
Thank you, Mems. Lisa, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, thank you. Those were three actually amazing presentations from different perspectives, which was very encouraging. Bearing in mind this is a brand new initiative, it's amazing how much was accomplished while everybody was in South Africa. So kudos to you. We have only time for one question that can be answered on the Zoom, but please remember you can put questions in the chat and they'll be answered in the chat, so don't be shy. Does anybody have a burning question that they'd like to ask the group? And I'm missing something. I can see that there's some in the chat. Can we try the honey when we finally get together in person? I bet we can.
Certainly.
Yeah, yeah.
Lisa.
Okay.
Fun.
If there are any other questions. Lisa, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you so much, by the way, Mems, for the presentation. It was wonderful. Are there any other products that can be done from the honey? Candles or other things, creams, anything else?
Absolutely. When you start looking at what we call the honey value chain, that's when one could make various products, whether they are medicinal, cosmetic products, polish as well, and you were spot on, cosmetics as well, and candles. So the list is endless in terms of various products and byproducts that can be made from honey, the beeswax in particular.
Deborah has.
Thank you. I don't know if we have time for another question out loud, but if you put it in the chat,
one more question. I think Deborah Cohen is one.
I do. Thank you, Avital. It's wonderful that you're in the field. It's so nice that this happened during our forum. I love that y'all are there and with everyone. It's been a great presentation. And my question was, are we incorporating saving group mechanisms in our projects at all?
So I'll take this question. I must say that this is, we really think it's a wonderful opportunity. We learned it from Rose, you heard it from Fegegta, and actually today we were exposed to an amazing story where the women in Philippines saved around $7,000 in rand, and then a foundation matched them, and because thanks to their initiative, they were encouraged to match them, and they've been able to buy a very big land, a huge land. And now the government of South Africa, once they have the foundation and they have the saving groups, want to partner with them and create the infrastructures in this land to further nurture it. So the potential of this working saving groups is enormous, and we want to bring it to every community we work in India, in Ethiopia, in South Africa. I think it's also a mechanism to create a community, a beautiful mechanism, and we'll try to include it. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
I think now, if Danielle, can you take the next step to our last part of our journey today?
Yes, my pleasure. So in 2020, the world saw the most devastating locust plague in 70 years. As you may know, JDC rose to the challenge. We gathered experts from around the world and looked for creative solutions to addressing this problem. We very recently just published a white paper summarizing the process that we went through and the amazing outcomes. You'll receive a link to this document after the meeting, so please share it with your networks and anyone who might be interested. And by the way, when I say we published a white paper, I was very hands-on involved in this with Avital and the team, and Hagit, who's on this call, and Georgina. So I'm very excited to be able to introduce one of the most promising solutions suggested at the time that has been adopted by the Imagine More program. It uses Israeli technology to identify the movement of locusts. Once located, they're harvested by women farmers and turned into compost and protein feed. We've invited Georgina Campbell-Flatter from Tomorrow and Laura Stanford from the Bug Picture to tell you more about it.
Thank you, Danielle. I'm going to jump straight in the matter of time, but I'm Georgina. I'm Executive Director of Tomorrow Now. We help vulnerable communities prepare for tomorrow now in the context of our changing climate. And as Danielle said, I'll be sharing my 4 minutes with the brilliant Laura Stanford, who is also online, the CEO of the Bug Pitcher. So I was asked to present on our women-specific climate action pilot, and I'm going to jump straight in. Locusts are a fascinating use case for climate action. What you can see here on the screen, this is a New York City-sized swarm on the horizon. And this swarm was triggered by a climate event, destroys everything in its path, and predicted to become much more frequent over time, and their behavior is entirely dictated by the weather. Today, if you see this as a farmer, the only thing you can do is panic and pray. You will receive no early warning, no knowledge of what to do. You can only hope that the sprayers will get to your swarm on time, but not your livestock or your bees, and that sliver of aid will get to you and your family. But our plan for tomorrow is different, and we believe we can help farmers, especially women farmers, shift from reactive response to proactive action. So not only getting early warnings to people on time, but paired with practical actions. Cover your animals' watering holes so locust droppings don't contaminate it. Did you know that locusts are rich in protein? You can feed them to your animals, make compost, enrich your soils, turn crisis into opportunity. So this is the tomorrow that we're building together. And to make it work, we're viewing the problem and solution through a completely different lens. Because today, climate tools, for the most part, are built for the government. But what if we could put farmers at the center of an early warning system? If we could put female farmers at the center of an early warning system, what technology could we build for them? So, and thanks to JDC, and a huge thanks, really, we have been able to use this last 6 months to take the first steps in testing this what if. So the first 2 images you can see here are the first stages of our journey, dozens of interviews, workshops with farmers to understand what it would take to create a truly farmer-first approach with women at the center. You can also see here one of the stakeholder events that we led with women empowerment experts from the region to build on their learnings. And as we got deeper into the journey of building this what if system, we needed to find a use case. And this is how we got to know Laura and the bug pitcher approach of turning locusts into to profit. And as you can see, we're reimagining the system, but not reinventing the wheel. And we're piecing together proven approaches around this central goal of climate action and women. And over a short time, we've convened this brilliant team. So, and what is the technology driving this? So Tomorrow Now is a non-profit, but we spun out of Israeli-founded private weather intelligence company, tomorrow.io. And the only thing you need to know about tomorrow.io is that they provide weather intelligence, right? Not forecasting. So they turn forecasts into meaningful action for governments, individuals, private companies. But as tomorrow.io continues to invest more in software and satellites and weather and climate and locust modeling, who is going to ensure that this weather intelligence benefits the farmers, benefits the vulnerable? And that's exactly the role that Tomorrow Now plays to tighten that feedback loop between technology and impact and the women in the field who can benefit the most from weather intelligence. And the bug pitcher actually in Kenya is a brilliant example of this, where not only can we enable a brilliant empowerment solution designed for women, but also it's led by a brilliant woman leader in Kenya. So I wanted to hand it over to Laura to share her story.
Hi, thanks so much, Georgie, and thanks so much for having me this evening. And it's so cool to see other South Africans online. So I feel like I'm having a piece of home tonight. But yeah, so I'm Laura Stanford, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Bug Pitcher. As mentioned, we have just gone through the worst infestation of desert locusts in the past 70 years, and it's actually still ongoing, with locusts having arrived back in Kenya earlier this week. And it has threatened millions of lives, and millions of people have become food insecure as a result. We at the Bug Pitcher looked to the skies and saw the opportunity, the significant protein and nitrogen biomass that was being uncapitalized. This, coupled with the despair of affected communities, birthed the idea of mobilizing and paying farmers to harvest on our behalf, a different community every night as the swarms moved. During our successful 6-week pilot, we harvested 4.3 tons of locusts and distributed $2,000 worth, or in Kenyan shillings, to affected communities that were directly affected by desert locusts, giving these people an alternative income in a time of crisis. And harvesting insects is not new to Africa, and it is not new to women. And this industry has its roots at village level, where women have been harvesting, processing, and eating insects for thousands of years. Desert locusts should be seen as a huge opportunity for women. Desert locusts should be harvested, dried, and upcycled into either animal feed or compost, both catalysts for improved food security, while surplus locusts can be sold at market, creating an income-earning opportunity, or just saved for a rainy day. Our ability to scale this approach relies on two pivotal factors. As Georgie mentioned, we need to leverage weather intelligence to move in front of the swarms. And then we need to be able to share this information in local languages with communities that are in the swarm's flight path, educating farmers in order to personally benefit from the seasonal crop of desert locusts. Today, we're using this reimagined system for desert locusts so that we can reach thousands of women to contribute to the desert locust response while personally benefiting. And tomorrow, we see the system in the hands of more people in different languages and growing to incorporate different pests and farmer challenges linked to climate change and weather. Thank you. I was racing for my 4 minutes there. So.
Thank you. Can you stop sharing, Georgie? Wonderful. Lisa, back to you.
Yeah, no, back to me and the questions. So another fascinating, I mean, these are just amazingly fascinating projects, and I'm sure we can gather a lot of information from them. Does anybody have maybe one or two just brief questions? Put it in the chat. Let us hear from you. Really, I'm getting a notice that says it's time for only one question.
I see Julia, I think.
Julia, okay. All right, so Julia, you go ahead.
Thank you, Laura. Absolutely fascinating. My question is, are we able to apply this technology towards other insects that could create additional income opportunities for these women?
Yeah, I'll jump in with that. I mean, absolutely. I mean, we've built this system for scale. So we're learning from the desert locust, but the idea is to create the technology and a climate action system where we are, before we build the system, listening and learning from the farmers, the female farmers, then we're responding with the technology, and then we're running programs that will make sure we're getting it into the hands of women farmers. So the whole system is kind of built with the women at the center, but the locusts is just the start.
Thank you.
I think we have time for one more question.
Be very generous, Avital. All right, is there a question?
I think Karen Moss is, I saw in the chat, maybe.
Yeah, Karen.
This is Betty Kane. I sent a chat. I was just curious to know, how is the mechanism, or what is the mechanism that brings the Israeli intelligence to the areas that are going to be affected by the swarms? In other words, how is that relationship created between Israeli intelligence that have that information?
Georgie, can you take it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the mechanism we're using is Tomorrow Now. So Tomorrow Now is the nonprofit that sits alongside the for-profit tomorrow.io, who have the weather intelligence. And we have agreements with them to be able to access and leverage their technology for good through discounted and free licenses. And so on the Tomorrow Now side, we are building out a team in Kenya right now, and also partnering with African organizations such as the Bug Pitcher, Digital Green, and others, so that we can make sure that we're, I guess, that bridge between the technology and the people. And then separately, we have partnerships with the government, the local governments.
Thank you so much, Georgie. Jay, can you take us to the closing of this meeting, please?
Thank you, Avital. Wish you a safe journey home as quick as possible. On behalf of Danielle Capolino, I want to thank you all for joining us today on these journeys. And I want to recognize the leadership of the JDC, along with board members, President Mark Zasiski and the CEO Avital Zwang did join us today, which was much appreciated. I want to talk a little bit about decision-making, how the joint responds to natural disasters. And as you know, the world is paying very close attention to climate change, particularly the climate summit taking place in Glasgow. When natural disasters caused by climate change and global warming are becoming more and more frequent and widespread and severe, it's important to understand, for us to understand as board members, how GRID makes decisions in deciding how to respond to which natural disasters. So I would urge all of you with your networks, if you're interested in having a meeting with a simulation of how GRID is responding to these disasters, please reach out to us, and Avital or someone from the staff would be happy to have a presentation to your group. I know that our hearts are with our team and our clients in Ethiopia, and we pray for their safety with everything that's going on. And again, thank you for joining us, and I wish everyone a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Forget stay safe. Please send our love to all the team in Ethiopia.
Be safe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful meeting. Thank you
everyone.
so much.
That was
Everyone,
tremendous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Fantastic,
you.
fantastic, fantastic.
Outstanding, just outstanding meeting. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.